Hello and welcome to episode 50 of Missed Mando, Ontario's source for the latest in the disc golf world. I'm your host, Robbie Holden, joined as always by my friend and co-host Sean Galbraith. Shawnee G, how you doing? What you been up to since our last episode? I cannot believe that we have been doing this for 50 episodes now.
Incredible, just incredible. We're coming up on 2 years, I think.
Yep.
That is nuts, man. That is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely love it. And thank you to our listener out there for keeping us going. It is a pleasure to bring this nonsense to you. And I love spending time with you and occasionally Galen, making this fun show. What have I been up to? I was out in the wild western regions, also known as Hamilton, for the King's Forest Open last weekend on Sunday. It was snowy. It was a blast. It was a great time. Not the King's Forest Open. The Corley was not doing that. What the hell? The King's Forest Doubles?
The Golden Horseshoe Doubles,
whatever the hell it's called. That one, the doubles one at King's Forest to start the season there. It was a lot of fun. Really liked the 22-hole layout. We're going to talk a little bit more about this event later on in the show. It was super fun. And the day before that, I was at, of course, White Spruce home course. Love them for Frosty's Discmas Doubles, the charity fundraiser, raising lots of stuff for the food bank, food and money. Great time had by all there as well. Again, a modified layout that inspired the Miss Mando Mayhem event there. And yeah, love the Frosties event. It was a great time. What about you? What have you been up to?
Absolutely diddly squat. I did actually go out and I played King's Forest with my buddy Jeff Steele on the Monday before that Golden Horseshoe doubles tournament, which was a lot of fun. My first round back at King's Forest of the season, it's just such a fun course. I wish it was open year round because I really do not like playing in the snow, but I love that course. And unfortunately, there is a lot of snow out there right now. Usually Hamilton kind of gets away with not getting much snow, but not the case while I was out there. There was a bunch of it, but still fun regardless. That course is awesome, and new changes this year. It keeps improving. So can't wait for King's Forest Open when it actually does happen, because it hasn't happened yet, Sean. When it actually does happen in usually March is when that tournament is, and I'm sure it will be back this year. But also, I don't think this happened before our last podcast, and we definitely didn't talk about it on the last podcast, but the Spotify Wrapped came out, and I mean, if you're anywhere on social media, you know that, because everybody was sharing something to do with their Spotify Wrapped. But we were able to see some Spotify Wrapped on the back end for the podcast, which was awesome. And we were the number one show for 10 different people. So 10 people had us as their number one podcast that they listen to the most, which is super awesome. This is also just Spotify numbers, doesn't include our YouTube numbers, which we generally have a bit more views on the YouTube side. But I see you unmuted yourself there, Shawnee. You got some?
I just want to say thank you to the one person who has 10 different Spotify accounts and listens to our show on all of them. That is really appreciated. We appreciate your sock puppets, and just keep cranking those repeat plays up and up and up. And that really helps us.
Yep, our overseas bots are really, really doing numbers for us. And kind of hilariously, speaking of overseas, we also showed us our top countries where we were listened to the most. Number one, Canada, of course, no big surprise. We are Ontario's source for the latest in the disc golf world. Number two, the United States. And then we get number 3, Norway, number 4, Denmark, and number 6, Finland. It just boggles my mind to think that there is somebody overseas listening to this silly podcast. And
And
shout
that
out
is
to whoever that is.
the Anakin Sten episode.
Oh,
That's definitely that. Just really that episode has done so many numbers for us.
Yeah.
It has. Is it still our highest numbers for any single episode?
It is on YouTube. It's actually not our highest streamed on audio platforms.
Cool.
Last I looked, that was actually when we had Rebecca Dawn and Kaylin Shat on the same episode. But yes, I do believe that Anakin is still our most viewed on YouTube, and it is now up to 752 total views on YouTube.
Amazing.
Ahead of I believe that was our first interview with Sophia. Yeah, episode 7. So with Sophia Dunica is our second most viewed with 684. That episode could not have been more perfectly timed, with her finishing on the podium at Portland like a couple days after we released that interview. So shout out Sophia for helping our numbers there. But other than that, I have been up to diddly squat. That's the only round of disc golf I've played, was that one at King's Forest. Just been doing some gaming, enjoying the indoors, and trying to stay out of the cold as much as humanly possible. But we have got a good show ahead of us here today. Be a little bit on the shorter side, but we do have some things that we want to cover in the disc golf world. But first, we are going to send it over to our feature interview for this episode. And we are very excited to welcome the one and only Cori Murdock to the show. Just had a great chat with her, and we will be right back here on Missed Mando. Our next guest is a staple of disc golf in Northern Ontario, first joining the PDGA in 2020, but didn't play a sanctioned event until 2022. 2022 was also when she TD'd the popular Gaps Gambit tournament on St. Joseph Island for the first time, and since then has TD'd or co-TD'd at 8 more events, including 2 provincial championships. She's the ODSA Treasurer and Ontario Tour Director, but more importantly, she makes the best chili in the history of humankind. It's a pleasure to welcome to the Missed Mando podcast, Cori Murdock. Cori, thanks for joining.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm quite excited to be my first time on a podcast. So
we are very excited to be your first. And I had to slide in a little comment about the chili there too, because it is a well-known fact. Anybody that knows you knows that 100%. But we will get into a lot of tournament stuff and Ontario Tour, all that coming up. But Cori, as we like to do with first-time guests here on the pod, let's take things back to the start of your disc golf journey. When did you first discover disc golf, and who or what originally got you introduced to the sport?
So actually it was in 2019. Our daughter and our son-in-law, there's a small park course in the Sioux, and they're like, we got to go try this. There's these metal things in this field and this sport. We should go give it a try. So we obviously had no clue what we were doing. We played with ultimate frisbees because, I mean, you're looking at this metal thing and you've got this disc and you're like, all right. So we played a couple of rounds up there at the Kiwanis Park in the Sioux. And on the drive home, Ian and I, my husband and I, were talking and said, we have this municipal park at our township. Wouldn't it be cool to do something like that here with something, little park course and that? And so the ball started rolling. And within the less than the calendar year, by September 1st, 2019, we opened our 18 holes at Mountain View because the municipality said, go for it. Here you go. They gave us the money to start up, and off we went running. So it's been a kind of a 90-degree curveball from there. We just kept running with everything. So that's where we started.
And since then, you've cultivated that course into what I would say is a top tier course in Ontario. Of course, a lot of people from more mine and Sean's neck of the woods haven't been out there to play it yet. But I went out last year, played it for the first time, was super impressed. but it is definitely off the beaten trail. So what's the disc golf scene like in that area? Like league nights and participation? How much has disc golf sort of grown on St. Joseph Island?
Uh, we get a lot of like, so our league nights now, we don't have a huge, it's still, kind of infancy around the area here. So our league nights that summer, we have anywhere from, 5 to 25 people, depends, we all know how busy life gets. So, some people can't commit. We run a winter league through the winter, and it actually is our highest attended league that we have. We'll have 25 to 30 people out on Sundays at our winter league. So, we're slowly growing and getting, more and more people. We partner a lot with like the group in the Sioux and that because we're all fairly close. So we travel back and forth. But, it's growing. We get a lot of what we call pass-through traffic. So if somebody's traveling along the way, because we are off the beaten path significantly. So we get a lot of people that, maybe we're heading from Toronto to Thunder Bay. Oh, there's a course here. They'll pop in and play. Every year we meet people that we've never seen there before. And we're like, oh, you knew? And they're like, no, we've been coming here for like 3 years. And we're like, oh, okay. But they just stop, play, and then go.
So for those like me who have not had the pleasure yet of coming up to play the Mountain View course, tell me about it. Like what style course is it? What are kind of some of its signature features? I'd love to learn about it.
Okay, so we are what I would call a woodland course. So our main course, the 18, well now 27, is through existing cross-country ski trails.
Ooh.
So yeah, so all of the fairways are pathways through the bush that are the ski trails. So it's a very technical course. With that design, you don't necessarily get those spots where you can throw 500 or 600 feet because you're in the middle of the bush.
Sure.
Our main, what I would say is our signature hole on our course is hole 18, off the top of the toboggan hill. So you're standing at the top of the toboggan hill looking out over what was the Gap Farm, which is what the property is. And the basket's 520 feet down the hill, right in the middle, up on the top of a rock. So it's a very picturesque, like every route that you play or every play we have designed, that's your last hole and you end up back at your car. So when you get there, you're looking out. If the leaves are changing, you can see miles of like colored leaves in the background and that. So that's kind of what I would call our signature hole. And we little bit of elevation, ups and downs. Some of the hills are a little deceiving because you think, oh, that's just a little hill, and you get halfway up and you're like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So that's what a little bit shorter, more technical shots. We didn't manage to get with our expansion. We do have some longer shots now too. So if you don't like playing in the woods, we might not be for you.
You can certainly tell sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, I was going to say, go for it.
You can always tell that a hole is a signature hole on a course when by the end of a tournament round, there's about 20 different people saying, here, take a video of me throwing off this giant hill down to the basket. And then, of course, with it being elevated on the rocks, just makes it so pretty. But when you get like 25 people just all bombing at the top of the hill until Cori's yelling at you to cut it out and come down and get to the awards, then you know that's definitely the signature hole of the course.
Absolutely. It sounds like a trail hub or something like that, where you just have, a top of the world type shot. Those are so much fun. Empty your bag, just bomb it down.
We get a lot of people that do go and do that. I remember one tournament we had, there's usually a breeze. Always, it hits the face of the hill. So there's usually 9 times out of 10, it's a headwind. Every once in a while, you get a tailwind. We had one tournament morning, there was no wind.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden, there's like 20 guys running up the hill before we start because they've never thrown with no wind. So like all these people and this is I would not want to run up this hill. I might have a heart attack halfway up kind of thing. And they're all just running to get up there to bomb like 5 or 6 discs off before the wind picked up.
That's amazing. Sounds incredible. So we mentioned in the intro that you've now TD'd 9 events since 2022, and you've played in 12. Do you prefer hosting or do you prefer playing?
Well, so that'll be sanctioned events only. A lot of our events up here aren't sanctioned. We just don't have the player base. If I have to choose, I prefer to TD. Um, I enjoy playing. I love playing. A lot of the tournaments I go to as a player, I go more for the social aspect in our disc golf community. I go to, hang out with the people and play and have a good time and that. I'm not knocking down the door of any championships by any means. Um, but if I had to make the choice, I'd rather be what I call behind the table. You know, let me.
I definitely have gotten a good appreciation of that, and how fun it is to host events through our Mist Mando Mayhem series, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, and it depends what you want to get out of it. For me, a lot of what I do, regardless whether it's disc golf or a lot of the other things in my life, I do it for the people. Like that's the thing that sells me is like the people that I have met on this disc golf journey, I would have never crossed paths with in any other world. Some of my very, dearest friends now, where would we have actually ever met other than both having to play disc golf? And now, you have these lifelong friends that you can go anywhere in the province or even to the point now across the country. And, you know, the disc golf community is absolutely fantastic.
And that's why we absolutely love you, Cori. And 100% can attest to somebody that actually finally did make it up to a Gaps Gambit tournament. And we'll get into this little sneak peek for something we'll talk about later. But am very excited to make it up for Knock in 2026. Yeah, Cori is a fantastic tournament director and host, and the vibes are always off the charts. If you manage to finish well enough in your division to get a prize afterwards, you can expect a big Cori hug on your way up as well, which is, to be fair, better than the actual prize itself. So it's what we most look forward to. So you first started or got introduced in 2019, you said, and Mountain View, of course, sprung up pretty quickly after that. How long after initially playing did you then decide you wanted to TD something? I know on PDGA it says 2022 was the first gaps and your first sanctioned tournament, but I assume you had done some unsanctioned stuff before that at that time as well. And I guess sort of a follow up on that too. Which do you prefer on that side of things, going unsanctioned versus sanctioned?
Well, so my first tournament that I TD'd was actually in October 1st, 2019. We have a fall tournament called Mountain View Color Tourney. So we literally opened the course, and within the month, I had our first tournament. Because, go big or go home. Tends to be the motto around here. So from that time, we did the color tourney every October. And then we started gaps in 2022, but we've also done ice bowls. We do ice bowls every February. And then we do a glow in the dark tournament every August since 2020. So, as for sanctioned versus unsanctioned, I find it depends what you're looking for in a tournament. I love unsanctioned because you can be everybody's a little more relaxed. People don't tend to get, you don't have the same level of competitive nature necessarily, other than bragging rights or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And for us in our area here, because disc golf is still so new, we have a lot of people who still don't have like PDGA numbers and things like that. So the unsanctioned allows them to join without feeling that they have to be, super good, as well as not paying that extra fee because they don't have that PDGA number. But when you flip to the competitive continuum, you want people to come, you need that sanctioning. People don't tend to travel, and because we are so far off the beaten path, I have to do something to sweet talk them other than the chili to get them here. So if I have to choose which I prefer, honestly, I prefer the unsanctioned. It just gives you a little bit more freedom with how you operate. You can be a little different with your pricing and things like that. But I mean, it's kind of six of one, half a dozen of the other for me. It really depends on what I'm hoping to accomplish with that particular tournament.
Plus, at an unsanctioned, you can probably let the chirping go a little bit further than you would at a sanctioned tournament, and I know you won't back down from that either. So that's got to bring out the best in Cori Murdock.
Yeah, we're pretty ruthless when we get going on that.
What are some of the things you like most about hosting TDs, or and conversely, what are some of the biggest challenges?
Oh, so what I like the most is, for me, when I put on something, I have a very specific vision in my head. So being the TD and that sort of thing allows me to take that vision in my head and bring it to life. I have some very, like, our group here personally, we have a very small group. I have some amazing support with my husband and another one of our disc golfers, Mike Butcher, who are absolutely both my right hands when it comes to these things. But we have a very particular, we want people to come back for that family atmosphere. That's what we're looking to do. So with TDing, that's what I like to bring to my events and use that to ensure when you walk in, I don't care if I've only met you for the first time, I want you to feel like you belong here and you want to come back. Now on the flip side of that, some of the, more difficult things, as anybody who's TD'd, like, balancing a field of, 20 different divisions and making sure you don't have backups and trying to please people as best you can, because you're not going to please everybody. That's something you learn very quickly. Um, to me, that's sometimes the bigger struggle, is just trying to, okay, I've got, a group of, 50-year-old ladies who've never played before and a group of pros. How do I get them not to at some point? So, so I find that the biggest struggle. And being perfectly honest, when the PDGA changed the rule that you couldn't mix cards first round, I found that a little struggle because I love getting people to meet new people. So I like to shake it up, but we just do other things now to make sure that we get that feel.
Always make sure that if you're up playing one of Corey's tournaments, that you go for the doubles event the night before and get to meet lots of the people out there, because that is always a blast as well. But on the sanction side, we talked about Gaps Gambit a little bit. Your first one being in 2022. What, after the course being open for a little bit at that time, and having some sanction tournaments, what was the first sort of push to want to host a actual sanctioned tournament there, and what was that like? Your first one, was it as popular as it is now as a tournament? Because the Gaps Gambit is definitely one the people that play it always talk about it a lot, and I can put my hand up and say that I'm in that camp as well. So what went into that first year?
Well, talking to our local people, a lot of the players started expressing it is really hard for our local people to have accurate ratings with their PDJ number because we are so far removed from everything. Like for us, Sudbury's 3 hours away. So, right, Thunder Bay's 8.5 hours away. So, unless you travel large distances, it's really hard for anybody up here to get an accurate portrayal of what their rating is. So that we started talking about, okay, well, how can we help assist our players that are focused on wanting to do that? So one of the things we did was, well, the only way we can help then is we got to start sanctioning things. So originally we started sanctioning just a single tournament, and then we moved to sanctioning both gaps and the color tourney, just to try and, give those people who don't want to make that trip. And then the other piece for us is, because we're close to a border town, we'll get a lot of our people for 2 hours of a drive. We can be at like 10 tournaments in Michigan. So it makes it hard to sometimes convince them to travel the other direction. Because, Sudbury's 3 hours, South River's, 5.5, Barry's 6. Um, you know, so that's what kind of spurred us to start sanctioning, was to try and get these players who wanted to get into that competitive continuum an opportunity to at least kind of get a feel for, okay, now if I do go down to, say Bronte and play a tournament, where do I play? Am I playing AM3? Am I playing AM2? So that was kind of what spurred us on to do that, was for the people that wanted to start getting that accurate rating.
I'll say in disc golf too, it's so common for tournament names to just be whatever the course is, Open at the end. The White Spruce Open, King's Forest Open. So where did Gap's Gambit come from? Because that is definitely one of the more unique names that you see on the disc golf calendar in Ontario, and I absolutely love it because it is different. It is unique. It's not the same cookie cutter type of name that most tournaments seem to go by these days.
Yeah, so if you've met Ian or I, we tend to like to stand out in a crowd. um so part of the thing that came behind actually both the main tournaments we do with the color tourney, obviously is October, so the colors are changing. The entire course is through a maple bush, so it's, it was kind of a no-brainer there, color and a tourney. Beautiful. With Gap's Gambit, so the property that the course is on was originally called the Gap Farm. Mr. and Mrs. Gap ran a fruit farm. It was one of the largest apple orchards in the area at the time. They've since obviously passed and had given the property to the township. So we were like, okay, well, how can we honor the Gap family for, being able to have this amazing space? So like, okay, Gaps, well, what do we put with it, And so we kind of went back and forth through everything. And then just, I don't know, side of a side joke one day, I'm like, well, why don't we call it Gap's Gambit? And somebody's like, well, but that's Gambit's a chess move. What's that got to do with it? I'm like, no, no, no. X-Men fan. We're going to go with Gambit. We're throwing playing cards. So actually our first tournament, the logo was chess pieces with throwing cards. So it was like, it's kind of catchy. It goes, yep, we're going to go with that. So we did.
I love it. And as a big X-Men fan and fan of the character Gambit in his own right, I am a little sad to say that I didn't put that together in my head just on my own. But now it makes me love that tournament name even more. So
It's really, really disappointing there, Robbie.
Yeah.
You've shamed yourself once again on this podcast.
He can't be great all the time.
So you're now like parlaying the Gap's Gambit into a pretty big event this year. You are the TD for the NOC, the Northern Ontario Championships. It's coming to Mountain View and St. Joseph Island. How excited are you for this event?
You know what? Very. So this will actually be the third time I've hosted NOC. Because the first year I did it in Muskoka with Spencer. And then we did it last year in conjunction with the Sioux. But we had been talking about on the island here, what did we want to do? What do we need? What do we want as a group here to see moving forward? So actually, Ian and Mike have been talking about wanting to do a 2-day tournament. And I'm like, okay, well, we were worried about accommodations because we don't have any hotels on the island. So we're like, we have to draw people. We are middle of nowhere. We have a small, albeit amazing group here, but still small. So if we want these big tournaments, we have to draw people. So what do we do? So we're like, well, so we made the decision last year that we are going to move Gaps to the August long weekend and make it a 2-dayer. And then as the conversation confirmed, continued, and we're like, why don't we apply for NOC again? We're going to do it either way as Gaps, but, why not try with NOC? It's been Thunder Bay, it's been Muskoka, it's been here. But I want to see it continue because Northern Ontario is such a huge place that, we really want the name to continue and really want, something to go. And I'm like, why not? I mean, I've co-TD'd nationals and provincials and, NOC and then several of my own tournaments. I'm like, let's give it a whirl. Let's see if we can do it. So we're pretty excited. I have big plans. So as long as they all pan out, we're good.
when there were, oh, go ahead, John.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, so is this the biggest event that you've hosted certainly in St. Joseph's?
Yeah. This will be the biggest singular event. We're gonna make it a B tier again, and but it will definitely be the biggest singular event that we've held here on our own home course. So
So anybody that made it up for this year's knock out on the island will have seen this already, but I wasn't there for knock. I made it up a little earlier for Gaps Gambit, so I haven't seen this yet. And there have been some changes to the Mountain View course, a bit of an extension to the course, making it 27 holes now. Tee pads. I don't want to spoil everything because I want to hear you talk about some of the changes and upgrades that have gone into the course this year.
Yeah, our team put in a copious amount of work. We have such an amazing volunteer base. Our entire course from start to finish has been installed and maintained by volunteers. So Ian and I, along with Mike and a handful of our other guys, put in the original 18. We've now expanded. We added 9 more holes on what we're calling the pudding stone path. So a pudding stone is a rock that is only local to the area. So we thought what better fitting because we don't want normal names. So we put in the pudding stone path, and what it allowed us to do was put in long and short tee pads. So the 9-hole expansion has long and shorts. It also gave us the opportunity to, with having more knowledge now, obviously when we installed the first course, we did the best we could, but we were so green that there's a lot we have learned since then. So the expansion has allowed us, we have a lot of longer holes. We've had a lot where we've upped the par so that they're a little more difficult than just, we have, a couple of 400 and 500 foot holes through the bush and, uphill and downhill. So it has been fantastic. Like the guys knocked it out of the park. We did all 36 tee pads, the doubles on the 9-hole expansion and the existing 18 to cement last year, or this year, I guess, technically. Yeah. We were pouring, and I mean, we had one day we poured 12 tee pads and we poured them by hand. So, so it's been great. So we put in this expansion, and then now we have the full 27 holes, and there's 4 different ways you can play the course, which is great to include or not include the expansion in that. So we're pretty excited to offer some of the different looks that we could give with this expansion versus what our original course is.
And will the knock make use of all these new holes? Is he going to be, so are they going to be playing a 27-hole layout, or what's the format for it this year?
So, cause go big or go home. What we're going to do is, we're going to add 9 temp holes so that the 27 becomes 36. And we're going to design it so the first day you will play 2 18s. So you'll play the original front 9 and the expansion as an 18, the back 9 and the 9 that we're adding as an 18. So you'll play 2 18s the first day, and then the second day you'll play the 27-hole layout.
I absolutely love that format. I think that is a great idea. And following up on the tee pads, as somebody that did play it this year before the upgrades, I will say that is definitely the one thing that course needed really bad. I loved everything about the course except some of the tee pads. So some nice fresh concrete blocks really elevate into Mountain View into a top tier. And I'm not sure if you have seen, Cori, but I've been running my Ontario course vote on Facebook for the last little while, and Mountain View made quite a jump, moving up. I believe it was like 18 spots from outside the top 50 to well in the top 40, getting the love that it deserves, and hopefully we will see that continue next year with another big tournament knock being hosted as well. And I should have this right in front of me, but when is knock going to be hosted next year?
It will be the August 1st and 2nd weekend, so the August civic holiday weekend. That allows people who are traveling, at least you only have to take one day off work, not 2, because most people get the civic day off. So that's part of the reason we chose them, was just to give people a little easier on the pocketbook. You don't have to take 3 days off to travel. You can just take one and then come up, and we're gonna offer. I'm putting together lists of Airbnbs and bed and breakfasts, and we have a lot of local community has offered to like billet rooms in their homes. If this got, yeah, we have a very supportive community up here, and then we have on our property here, we're gonna have 8 places to camp if people want to pitch tents in that, and we're 5 minutes from the course, so it'll offer some opportunity for people to have, places to stay while they come up. So
If we talk any more about your world famous chili, your property is going to be overflowing with campers by that tournament. I almost guarantee it. So Knock will obviously be huge. Will that be replacing Gaps Gambit this year, or will that be something that you are also running?
yeah, no, the plan was to move Gaps to the August long weekend anyways. So basically, in essence, Gaps is becoming Knock this year.
Yes.
Yeah, we had planned that we had hoped to move that format to the 2-day tournament anyways, and it was like, well, we're doing it anyways. Why don't we apply for Knock, and then if we get that, it'll just be so we'll do the color tourney in the fall, but in effect for this, Gaps Gambit will become Knock this year or next year.
That makes sense, I think.
As
and
sometimes it's
go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say sometimes it's a capacity thing too. Like you guys know yourselves, like as much as I would love to do something for people every weekend, you just sometimes don't have the capacity to do all of that. So it was like, well, if we do it this way, then we'll do Knock, we'll do the color tourney, we do our ice bowl in the winter because we're all crazy, um, and go from there. So
Any off course side plans for the tournament? Any other fun events you've got in mind that you want to share?
well, we're definitely doing a players party. I've already spoken to our local legion because we have quite a large legion, and I volunteer there, working every Friday night as well. So I've talked to our ladies auxiliary and to the legion about having a players party there, and we'll definitely be doing something Friday night, whether it's the doubles or some sort of fun. Who knows what we'll come up with between now and then, but definitely plan on having post tournament things for people to do because I love the people together. So, like even if I have to choose, I would take a shotgun start 10 times over as a TD versus tea times because people linger and people stay. And like Robbie keeps talking about our chili. So normally for our tournaments, the player party is here at our house. So we invite the entire tournament back to our house. I think the last time I made 5 crock pots of chili, and just invite everybody back to the house, and whoever comes, we hang out here and eat food, and usually I make cheesecake or something for dessert. And
now, I don't know the course at all, obviously. I've never been there. But I'm just going to throw this out there. Who knows? Mountain View Mayhem.
Sean, you are my
Maybe.
spirit animal. Yes,
Maybe.
definitely. I've been looking at my calendar going, okay, because I tend to focus and don't pay attention necessarily to what happens like otherwise. And when you had put the one you did at White Spruce, you put the video in our one chat there, and I'm like, oh, Sean is now my favorite person ever because this is fantastic. How do I do this here? And I reached out to you, and I would absolutely love to.
Did you see the one that we did for firemen's?
No, I didn't.
I'll send you that video too. It's also fun. Of course, the highlight is, as always, Disco Robbie.
Of course. I mean, that was entirely the highlight. I'm like, okay, so if we do this up here and you guys can't come up, how do I get Robbie in all of those videos?
I've got the technology. I'll just like green screen him dancing and stick him in the background.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, I'll stand in front of a green screen and just do different dance moves, and then you can just edit them onto all the holes.
I 100% can do this, and I will do this.
Yeah, I did mention the concept to a couple of my friends. I'm like, I've talked to Sean, and I kind of, and one of our friends says, "Oh no," and I said, "What do you mean, oh no?" She goes, "You and Sean together on this." She goes, "I'm terrified. I have to come, but I'm terrified."
Yeah, Cori and Sean together, watch out. Everybody else. Everybody else, just watch out and beware. But it would be as somebody that is fortunate enough to have played the course, and Sean, of course, is not at this point. Would 100% be a great course to host it at, especially with the. It kind of fits the overall vibe of fun that you like to go for out there, Cori. So we definitely need to make it happen. But moving on a little bit to some ODSA stuff, you are the director of the ODSA's Ontario Tour, which just put out its schedule for the 2026 season. For those who might not be aware, what is the Ontario Tour?
Well, so the Ontario Tour is our basically competitive continuum for Ontario, where we host a variety of tournaments that act as qualifiers to the provincial championship. So in order to play our provincial championship, you must qualify at one of our tour stops. So it was a way for us to kind of amp up that competitive nature. And so we have traditionally anywhere between 15 to 20 stops, depending on a mountainous amount of things. And we have those stops, and you go and play and hope for qualifying, and that gets you to provincials. And so I've been doing the tour since 2022 now. So it's it's a little bit of, Chris O'Zolin started the concept of the tour, and then I jumped in, and so it's been kind of our co-baby, and it's, I love to see the growth that it has for the province and the amount of people who now recognize immediately, oh, okay, that's what that is, and this is what it's for. So
There seems to be some new changes to the tour this year, including there are now majors and something called first flight events. Let's start with the latter. What is a first flight?
So with the amount of increased interest we're getting in the tour, so you have to apply. Your tournament has to apply to be part of the tour. So with the overwhelming amount of responses we got this year, we had the discussion about how, because you have your age-old, things that have been part of the tour since its inception, some really good tournaments that have been around for eons and that sort of thing. How does a new person break into that? So the concept we came up with is our first flights, which is a way that either a new tournament director or a new course location can get in. So it's short of describing it as basically a test run. So we're going to pick 2 every year. That is either, again, a new course or a new TD to give them that opportunity to get their foot in the door and see what they can do, and bring them forward to the tour, and then hopefully they can grow from there. But at least gives them that opportunity so that it's not, how do I knock the big guy off the horse and take his place, right? So that's what we're going with there. So it'll be run the same way as any of the other stops are. Top 3 will qualify and that, but it's a really great way for these new TDs and new courses to join us and be part of it and not feel defeated all the time when you're trying to get into something that has become incredibly competitive to become part of.
Over on the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, on the other side of the new things for the tour this year is the Ontario Majors. What went behind the decision to create majors in the tour this year, and how will they differ from the mainline Ontario Tour events?
Yeah, so the major and regional concept is kind of a way for us to break up the tour to help the tour sort of get a little bit more self-sufficient. Like right now, any of the support we're giving our TDs for the last few years has been completely based on the amount of money we can fundraise to put towards supporting the TDs and that. So the majors, our concept is to have one tournament, one major in each region, which will kind of be that, whether it's the bigger tournament or highly attended, they'll get a little bit more sponsorship, than the regionals one. And the regionals will kind of help support that and help to support the provincial championship to allow us to help those TDs who are putting on just that little bit higher tier tournament with a little more support. So that's basically the kind of the easy breakdown of the difference between the two. When it comes to amount of qualifiers, the elevated ace holes and that, they're all the same for whether you're a major or whether you're a regional. You'll still have top 3. You'll still get, any of the traveling promotional that we do. It's just that one gets a little more financial support than the other.
And for the 2026 season, which events are going to be the first considered as a Ontario major?
So the North will have the Muskoka Open. The South is, yeah. Let's do East and West, and then we'll. The East is going to be ECAN, the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals, and the West is Foxwood.
Awesome.
Yeah, and who is our South one? Sean, help me out here. I should know this off the top of my head.
Christie Lake Spring Fling, I believe.
That's what it was. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The South has so many big tournaments, sometimes they kind of do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those will be our first 4 majors this year, this upcoming year, and to see each year we try and assess and see what has worked, what hasn't worked, how can we, better, how do we do as much as we can for the majority of the players in the province. So this is one new format that we thought was worth a try to try and make the tour the tour a little more self-sustainable.
So if you're a TD and you want to submit your event for an Ontario tour stop, what goes into that application? What are there like minimum qualifications, and how do TDs go about submitting their event for consideration?
So every year what we do is on our Ontario Disc Sport website, there's an application there. There are guidelines. So as you apply, there are guidelines that kind of give you an overview of what we're looking for. How many people can you host? A little more so separating that regional and major. So if you're a smaller tournament, if you can only host 72 people, you're not likely going to hit the major status, but you just once the applications go up, you just apply. It's a very simple application, and who's your TD, what dates are you looking at, what level, are you a B or C tier, roughly how many people are you expecting to have, a few questions like that. They're not really in depth and really, you won't break a sweat filling it out. And then we give you an opportunity to kind of sell your tournament to us. Like, why do you believe you should be chosen? Because with the size of our province, each area is so different that what works in one region is not necessarily what's going to work in the other. So we have guidelines that we're like, this is what we're looking for this level. You just fill it out, and then our board sits down and starts hammering out all the details of what's going to work and what's not.
We asked which events were majors, but we don't think we have asked which events were first flights. So which events made that on the tour this year?
So our first flights, or our first year first flights, will be the Autonomy Open, which is, I think, just outside of Peterborough. So it's a new course at, I believe the business is an escape maze business. So they also put in a disc golf course. So they will be the first one. And then the second one was awarded to Nickel City in Sudbury. It's a new course that they've put in there. And they've been working really hard at that. So they'll be the first 2 first flights, and like I said, it gives them an opportunity to get their foot in the door and show us what they can do. So we're pretty excited to see what both of those tournaments do for 2026.
Both events I am definitely excited to try and make it out to, and definitely a better time of year to be hosting the Nickel City Open in Sudbury, a little earlier than I think it was start of November that they did this year, and
midway through November. Midway through November, I'm like, in Sudbury?
Sudbury weather's not gonna hold up for that long to give you a really nice disc golf tournament. So I think they made the smart decision there.
Yeah.
So with tournament directors that want to apply for the tour, given how competitive it is to get on the tour, what can TDs do to help increase their odds of getting accepted? And as it keeps growing, will we see, some established events maybe cycle off the tour at some point, or will there, will the tour continue to grow and expand with maybe more events each year?
Yeah, ooh, that's a conversation we've had multitudes of times. Um, for TDs to apply and get on the tour, the best advice I could give them, and I do get people that reach out and ask, is ensure the events you're doing now are done well. You know, um, when people leave and have nothing but nice things to say about your event, that filters to all of our community. So, when we're looking at the list of events, if you've established already that you run a good tournament, you have decent numbers, things go well, that obviously helps. Um, some of the events, it's a little different up this way than it is closer to where you guys are. But numbers, like if you're putting on a 72-person tournament versus, say 150 people, that's gonna factor in too. Um, Not that it's that ironclad decision, because some of our rules are hard and fast and some have to be fluid just because we're managing such a vast area that what works in Toronto is not going to work up here. Um, so, TD is looking out like that. That's what I would say is if you really, so say you want to apply for 2027, make sure what you do this year, you do well. And, you leave a really good lasting impression. And then that will go far further than saying, well, I put through, 250 people and this guy only put through 185. Yeah, okay, great. But, if 200 and some people had a meh time and 150 people had an absolutely fantastic time, that will weigh into the decision. I mean, we have report cards that we do that, factor in, the level of your course, the TD team that you have, that sort of thing, to help make those decisions. But if you're looking to get on, that's what I'd say. Do what you're doing, do it well, and be sure that we know you're doing a great job.
Looking at the schedule, I mean, I know there's some events that I'm really excited for and looking forward to this year, but which ones are on your list as like, ooh, this is cool, I'm really excited for this one? Are you going to be able to get out to play many of them, or just being where you are, it's going to be a little bit on the tougher side?
Yeah, so traditionally for me, it's a little on the tougher side for several reasons, is just the commute, obviously. Um, I'm Because of the way I enjoy playing and the groups that I enjoy playing with, I always try and get into Blackfly. It's I love the course there. I love the feel the whole town has for that tournament. Absolutely love it. So for me, that's one I go to. I'm apparently a glutton for punishment. I try and get into the Blueberry Brawl all the time. Um, Despite the fact at the end of it, I'm like, why did I make this life choice? But it's always a great tournament, grueling. Again, probably about halfway through the second round, you're like, okay, remind me next year not to sign up. And then as soon as it comes up, you're like, um, so those are two for me. They also happen to be two of the closest ones for me, right? Like Sudbury's 3 hours, and South River's 5.5. So I'd love to be able to say, I'd love to get to them all. Somebody's got to win the lottery for me to go ahead and do that. So, um, yeah, so there's a few that I'd love to be able to hit the new Heights slope side one. I've tried to get to Sandy Hollow, but it always just happens that I got to pick like 2 or 3 weekends that I can go away for the weekend, and then the rest of them is kind of so. But I don't. Looking at this lineup for next year as a disc golfer in Ontario, like how can you not be excited with the amount of like the stops and the level of stops and just this competitive continuum that we are working at? It's amazing to see, and it's so amazing as the tour director and as somebody who's involved with this to see the continual. Every year there's more people playing, there's more people asking. When we see you're at a tournament and you see somebody who's got one of the patches on their bag, you're just like, that's what it, like, awesome, that's what I want to see. So
So, like, as someone who will never qualify, can I like get a patch anyway because they're just really cool?
I can probably hook you up. Yeah, I can hook you up.
Sweet, I've qualified for last year.
I'll get mine
Yeah.
the legit way by coming up and playing Mountain View and taking a patch from a local. Sorry, Sault Ste. Marie people, but
That's
it's
fine.
I had to do it this year, and I can't wait to be back. I wanted to play Knock this year, but unfortunately, my stepbrother had to go and get married that same weekend. Just totally
Pretty
inconsiderate, if you ask me. But next year, I will be up there for sure, and am very much looking forward to that. And you really realize, well, because I've made the drive out to Thunder Bay. I drove out for nationals, and that, of course, you like expect is just this is gonna take forever. Is a long drive. You really realize how far away you are in your area, Corey. When I was driving up to Gap's Gambit this year, and you get to Sudbury, and it's like, oh crap, yeah, there's still 3 hours left on this drive. What other albums do I have to listen to right now? And for some reason, the drive back seems to feel longer than the drive up there. Driving south seems to take longer for some reason. At least it did mentally. So any that you're able to make it out to, Corey, I definitely commend you for that, and I will see you at Blueberry Brawl again because
Yes.
I'm also a glutton for punishment and just love to torture myself on that course. But Corey, we have taken up a lot of your time tonight. Thank you so much for joining. Before we let you go, we'd like to hit you with a few lightning round questions that we ask all of our new guests. Nothing special, just quick answers, whatever comes to mind first. And the first one I've got for you, you might be a little biased on this. We'll see by the question. What's your favorite course?
Ooh, I would say my own. Definitely Mountain View.
Totally not
Hard to go
biased
wrong.
at all.
Yeah.
But, well, and I mean, I can't throw really far, so I don't mind the 200 foot around a corner shot. I got you in the woods.
I feel that. What is the hardest course that you've ever played?
I would say for me would have been Kelso this year. That
I still have
course
to make
was
it to Kelso.
that course
You gotta go,
was
Robbie.
mentally and physically just killed me.
It's tough. It's a tough course.
Yeah.
One sport to play or watch other than disc golf, Corey. What are you choosing?
Volleyball.
Nice. Heck yeah.
The
Yeah, I
number
played-
one, probably the number one response on the podcast. Volleyball, extremely popular with disc golfers.
Straight.
What is one song to make you instantly turn up the volume to max and sing your heart out, or go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, I don't karaoke. Nobody wants to see that ever. Go-to song, probably Bodies.
Oh yeah. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the
Yeah.
floor. Don't need it. Don't need it. I will gladly karaoke. Maybe not something that anyone wants to hear either, but I can't resist sometimes,
Robbie, it would be Broadway show tunes with you.
Go 100%. It was actually on my drive home from Corey's and the Gap's Gambit, where I was posting some videos of me rocking out to the Wicked soundtrack, driving home. So 100% on brand with that, Sean. But Corey, back on over to you. What is your favorite place to stop for food on a road trip?
Oh, I don't know. We eat terrible on road trips.
Good.
That's what
You
that
should.
road trip. Yeah, that's what road trip food should be. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm like the
It's not
snack
fine
queen.
dining.
Yeah, I'm like the snack queen. So like, I'll pack the car with everything you could possibly need, so that if we're stranded on the side of the road for 3 days, we'll live. But if I'm going out and we're going somewhere, Eastside Mario's.
Yeah, I get those all you
Great
eat
choice.
breadsticks.
And I'm a pasta nut. Pasta is like I could eat it for every meal if somebody would let me. But
What movie never gets old no matter how many times you watch it? These are hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, well, we're huge movie buffs, but my favorite movie is Boondock Saints.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Deep
nice.
cut. Love it.
Yeah, so that one never gets old. I could watch that one every day. It wouldn't.
Love it. Love it. Last one here for you, Cori, and it's the most important one. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh boy, telekinesis.
Ooh,
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah.
that's dangerous. I like it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, picturing Cori with telekinesis too is
I wouldn't have to yell at you to get off my course.
No, that's true. Yeah.
It also might
Come here right now.
make aces a little bit easier to get too.
Well, yeah,
Just
that's
think
true.
them into the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. See, it's funny how like you think that, and I'm like literally like, no, like I don't have to. Way you go, dude. Move along.
Yep. Control everything.
I am a
Well,
bit of a control
Cori-
freak. We know that.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully superpowers, at least to my knowledge, are all hypothetical at this point. If you come in contact with some I think it's usually you have to fall into like a vat of toxic waste to acquire some sort of. So if that happens to you, Cori, just let me know what power set you get, all right? Hopefully
All right,
it's the one you want.
for sure.
Well, Cori, thank you so much for joining us. This has been awesome to have you on the podcast. Before we let you go, do you have any shout outs or any final words that you would like to give? The floor we will leave open to you.
For me, I want people to know that for as great as stuff we do up here, I certainly by no means do anything that I do alone. My Ian and Mike are my right hands up here. When it comes to the tour and stuff, Oz and I are kind of attached at the hip with a lot of this stuff, and our ODSA team is fantastic. Any hours everybody puts in to do what we can for the people. So those would be my main shout outs, is that, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen with these volunteers who didn't give undying amounts of time to our sport and to the people around. So for me, that's those would be my shout outs.
Well, and a big thank you back at you, Cori, for all that you do for the sport of disc golf. And like I said a couple times, I am very excited to once again come up for another Cori Murdock tournament for Knock this year and get to see all the work that has been put in at Mountain View. Anybody driving by, that's a far drive, but if you're driving by, make an effort to stop at the Mountain View Disc Golf Course. You will not be disappointed at all. It is a hidden Ontario gem, as I've heard lots of people describe it as. So, Cori, thank you once again for joining us here. Look forward to seeing you out and about at tournaments next year. And we will be right back here on Missed Mando. Welcome back to Missed Mando. Thank you once again to Cori for coming on and joining us here on the pod. Always great to chat with her. And like I said, probably like a dozen times in that interview, very excited to make it out to Knock next year and see those new upgrades out at Mountain View. She and the team out there do great work. And I can't stress it enough. If you ever have the chance, go and play Mountain View. It is very much worth it. Moving on to some Ontario news, we got, and we did mention it in the interview with Cori, the 2026 Ontario Disc Golf Tour schedule was officially released. There are, I believe, 22 different events on there coming up, which is massively exciting. Shawnee G, you are on the ODSA board as well. So I'm sure you knew about this before the general public. What are you looking most forward to on this schedule for 2026?
This tour and this series of events is so exciting. It really highlights how deep the field is of TDs and events here in Ontario. It was an extremely difficult job to narrow it down to only 22 events. We had more events than we could accommodate on the tour, and it was a very spirited debate as to which ones would and would not make a tour spot. And it's pretty amazing. I want to highlight. I'm going to highlight 3 events that caught my eye for this year, and then I'll throw it over to you to highlight 3 events that caught your eye. First is the Heights Slopeside Sling. This is at a brand new course going up at the Heights Ski and Ski Club at Horseshoe across the street from the Horseshoe Valley ski area north of Barrie.
Last episode.
That's right. It's about 25 minutes north of Barrie at a ski resort. So like this could be pretty cool. This could be I don't know. I'm hoping maybe, kind of a trail hubby kind of course, maybe. I don't know. It's brand new. It's very exciting. I can't wait to get up there and play that, and it'll be fun having an event there. Next one that jumped out at me was the Five Sisters Spring Open. This is the course from the Dawn family in Eastern Ontario. And they've put in so much work on that course. They're going to keep expanding the course, I think, to a full 36 holes. Bonkers. I think this will be this is going to be an incredible event. I think it's early on in the season. It's only the second event on the tour, and if it gets good weather, I think this one is going to be a must play. And then my third one that I want to shout out is let's go with the First Flight event, the Autonomy Open out at Escape Maze near Peterborough. This is being put on by Angelica, the TD of
Angelica.
Yes, not Eliza or Peggy. Is the TD for provincials this year out in Kemptville. She is the TD for the former TD for the Ferguson Flying Forest 4A thing. And well-established TD, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And again, a little sneak preview might maybe have a mayhem there in 2026. News to Robbie and news to you as well. I'm gonna investigate it. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But maybe it'd be super fun. Robbie, give me 3 events that you're really looking forward to.
Well, you took some really good
highlighted.
Yeah, let's say you took some really good ones there. I'm definitely excited for the Heights Slopeside Sling. I'm gonna have to get used to saying that. Geez. But I, of course, gave a little teaser for that on the last episode, talking about messages that Dale Semple had sent me to keep that weekend reserved. So that'll be the May 23rd weekend in 2026. Super exciting. I've seen some pictures and videos of them out on the property, throwing some shots and what it'll potentially look like out there. So super exciting. 3 that I mean, there are so many on here. Just looking through this course list, I think there's like 22 tournaments on here, and there's probably like at least 14 that I'm more than likely going to end up playing. So lots of great tournament options. But I will give a shout out. Hopefully back, the Green Lane Open is in here, currently listed as TBA, but that is a great course in my neck of the woods, Paris, at Green Lane Sports Complex. Where I got my first PDGA win. So as always, a special course there for me. Very excited for that. I've mentioned it a ton in this episode already, so why not mention it again? August 1st, the Northern Ontario Championships up on St. Joseph Island, being hosted by the awesome new guest of the podcast and friend to everybody that meets her, Cori Murdock. Very much excited for that. And you know what? I'll say provincials. All roads lead to Kemptville, as I saw Angelica comment on on one of my Facebook posts as I've been revealing the course vote results over on Facebook. If you haven't seen those, go check it out in the new Disc Golf Ontario. Check out those results. But yeah, all roads lead to provincials. These are all qualifying events for provincials. And very excited for that. I got one of my wins last year was at the Flying Ferguson Forest Fall Foray. Nailed it. 5F. One of my wins this season was there. So definitely has some good juju for me out there. And I've heard good things about the other course out there as well, which I am blanking on the name of in my head. But looked like it will be really good. I'll also
Sandy
just
Row.
give Sandy Row,
Row
yes.
Golf Club.
Sandy Row, correct. So that will be a good time. And then the last one I'll say is the first one on this list, the Stones Throw Spring Open. Hopefully I will be able to attend this one. If not, I will definitely be there for their Fall Open, which unfortunately is not a Ontario Disc Golf Tour event, but they usually have the spring and fall open, and I try to make it out for one, if not both. I think I've actually been to both for the last 3 years, and absolutely love it. It is from where I am in Kitchener and you in Toronto, Shawnee G. It is definitely a bit of a hike for us, but it is well worth it. Heading out towards the Kingston area and then north of the 401. It is a fantastic course. Absolutely love it. And it is great vibes all the time. Cam, the tournament director there, does a good job with the event. Always there's camping on site if you want to do that, which friend of the program, Tobin Isaac, I know generally will be out there camping for probably the spring and fall open, to be honest, because he is everywhere. Just everywhere, everything everywhere all at once. It's just that, but Tobin. That's his yearly schedule. So can't recommend that one enough. Another course that I know people don't go to as often, but it is very much worth it. And for me, it's really special because I love the people out there. I've become really good friends with a few people out there. So it's always good to go out and check it out. But man, the schedule from start to finish is just awesome. The Nickel City Open, we mentioned that with Cori. That is one of the first flight events this year, September 5th this year instead of the middle of November. So that will be definitely better weather out in Sudbury. And that is, of course, on the new Twin Stacks course out there that the Humses have been working very hard on and are continuing to work on and improve. So we are spoiled with great tournaments out here in Ontario, and I'm just itching. I'm itching for competition already. The snow needs to go away first, though, because I just need one look out my window, and I'm just like, nope, not today, not happening. But Shawnee G, anything else you want to add on the schedule there?
What the heck? I'll highlight two more events. Just
Hell
for
yeah.
fun, we got the Wooden Sky.
Oh, I meant to mention that one.
This one is going down at Chris Azzolin's new course that he's building out in Hamilton. So new course, lots of fun. Be curious to see how that goes. Certainly can't no issues with the TD running it, and no issues with the TD designing it. You got to assume that that's going to be a fantastic event to play. And then shout out to Hote Goat and Daryl Bankus, friend of the show, for hosting Queer Disc Golf, their latest A Spring Thing, going down at the Goat on May 30th. Always a great fundraiser event there. And now it's on the tour, so do not want to miss that one.
Also, I'll give one last final shout out before we move on here, where I played my first ever round of disc golf and Shawnee G's home club, July 4th, White Spruce, the White Spruce Open back again. I just wanted to do the White Spruce chant there, to be honest. I felt an urge inside of me that needed to be released. And yeah, it felt good to get it out. So July 4th, back again, White Spruce Open. And I mean, we've got Bronte and the Beast, Lucky Lines Open. Oh, that's actually another cool one. The Lucky Lines Open is back again for another year, but it is not in Guelph again. This year, 2025, it was hosted at Eastview. And in 2026, it is going to be hosted in Almont, Ontario at, I forget what the course is called out there. I think I just know it as Almont. But whatever the course is called out there, when I used to live in Ottawa, I made it out to that course a couple times. And it is a really fun course. Definitely one that doesn't get as much attention. And I don't really know. I don't know how many times I've seen. I know I'll see on disc golf seen unsanctioned tournaments out there. I believe they had one a couple years ago called Bergs and Bergs, which was just it was a Berg only round, and then you got burgers in between your rounds. So I know they've done unsanctioned stuff out there. I'm not sure if they've done sanctioned out there before. But Marcus and Eric of Lucky Lines taking the Lucky Lines Open out there this year, which is super cool to see. More courses being exposed on the Ontario Tour. As somebody that can speak for how I do it, if it's on the Ontario Tour and there's a chance for me to qualify for provincials by going to an event, it definitely helps me sign up and makes me want to go even more. So seeing some new courses on the Ontario Tour will hopefully bring some more people to those courses, get to experience them, and showcase just even more of the amazing courses that we have here in Ontario, which I probably should have mentioned off of the hop when we were asking what's going on, because that's the biggest thing that's been going on for me is the reveal of the top Ontario course vote that I had been doing for the last little while. We had, I believe it was 270 something votes that we had total, which was really awesome. And I've been putting out, we did a graphic of course 40 to 31, 30 to 21, 20 to 11. And just today I announced, I believe it was course number 7. So all of the top 10 get their own day to shine. Because really, at the end of the day, the entire reason that I do this thing is to just celebrate the awesome courses that we have in Ontario and showcase them. So I actually had somebody message me that was like, thank you for all you're doing with this, but the slow slow reveal is really testing my patience. I was like, I totally get it, but each course in the top 10 deserves their moment in the spotlight. So tomorrow, from when we are recording this right now, which will definitely not be tomorrow when you're listening to this, it will actually be a few days ago when you're listening to this. I will be showcasing number 7. Actually, I think it's lined up that when this episode comes out, will be on the Thursday, and then on the Friday, the number 1 course will be revealed. So when you're listening to this, tune in tomorrow on Friday. What day will that be? That will be December the 19th. Stay tuned for the announcement of the 2025 number 1 course in Ontario. But we are going to move on now to a little bit of registration talk. Shawnee G, what do we got coming up?
Somehow we still got we got another one. Another one has popped onto the calendar. This is the King's Forest Discmas Doubles going down at King's Forest on December 20th. If you didn't get enough of the event, whatever, I guess by the time you're listening to this, 2 weekends ago, out there, this is an event for the Bronte and King's Forest Disc Golf Clubs. If you're not a member, you can add a membership when you register for the event on Disc Golf Scene. It's $20 or a new wrapped premium gift for a little Secret Santa gift exchange, I think. For a food donation, you get a mulligan, which, come on, after our own heart. We love to see that. It's a random draw doubles event. Go on out, play that at King's Forest on December 20th. It'll be a great event as always out there. Super fun, super fun. And starting to see even more and more little events start popping up in Disc Golf Scene. Make sure you follow them all so you get all the updates. You know when registration is going to open, because I mean, it's gonna start happening soon. Like, we got events starting in April. There's some events that are going to start popping up in March, that are notable ones. Probably, you know, the King's Forest Open and the Toronto Open. Those will pop up. The winter thaw is already on there, and so you gotta follow those on Disc Golf Scene so you do not miss the registration opening days, because they are going to fly off the shelf. Do it.
The 5th annual winter thaw at White Spruce, Foxwood Open 2026, Dreammaker Open, Bronte and the Beast, Nickel City Open, all on Disc Golf Scene already for tournaments next year. Definitely go into those tournaments, click the little follow button so you get email reminders when registration comes up, when there's comments, posts from the tournament directors, all that sort of stuff. Super handy. So definitely go and do that for all of your favorite tournaments when they are up on Disc Golf Scene. And speaking of King's Forest, we actually have a doubles tournament to recap. Shotty G mentioned it in the intro because he was there. The Golden Horseshoe Doubles Championship, one of the most popular doubles tournaments in Ontario, returns for another year with, like I said, the Golden Horseshoe Doubles Championship, hosted once again at King's Forest in Hamilton, with this year seeing 96 teams across 6 divisions out battling the elements on an expanded 22-hole layout. In the gold division, Martin Hendel and Kalen Schatt of Team Marty Farty came out on fire, playing 2 rounds. Fire might be a little suspect around Farty, but I digress. Playing two rounds on the blue layout, they shot a -23 across 22 holes in round 1, including 2 eagles and only 1 par, taking a 4-stroke lead into the second round. And in round 2, the wind picked up a little, but they didn't ease off the gas at all, shooting -22 to take down the win by a whopping 8 strokes over Chris O'Zolins and Cody Van Hevel of Team Donald Chump. So in case that wasn't clear, they shot a combined -45 through, what would that be, 44 holes in 2 rounds of King's Forest Blues. Absolutely insane. And making the win all the more impressive is that with the snow cover on the ground, Marty wasn't even able to lay down any of his patented sick rollers. But from what I heard, their drives were pinpoint. They didn't have to do much putting on the day when all their drives were underneath the basket. In the white division, Dario Zagrablik and Josh Podolak of Team Slav Bros got out to the hot start with a -15 to take a 4-stroke lead into round 2, where Benjamin Bonsma and Aiden Schatt of Team An Honest Discussion gave their best attempt at a comeback, shooting a -12, but it would fall 1 stroke shy as Team Slav Bros takes home the win. In the red division, it was a tie at the top after round 1 between Alex and Ken Michelin of Team Putts Like a Michelin and Lee and Mitch Muse of Team Two Blind Muse. But 4 teams were only 1 stroke back of the lead, an absolute logjam on the leaderboard. In round 2, the top 2 teams were able to stay at the top, But in the end, it was Team Two Blind Muse taking down the win over Team Putts Like a Michelin by 2 strokes for the win. In the green division, it was another tie at the top after round 1, this time between RJ Heimerl and Richie Wilson of Team Dick, and Owen Vandermeulen and somebody else whose name isn't listed on the UDisc page that I'm seeing the results on, but both of them of Team Vandermeulens. And round 2 saw Team Vandermeulens rise above the pack, shooting a neg 11 to clear the field, taking home the win by 5 strokes over Team Dick. In the women's 1 division, Danny McBride and Alyssa Saunders of Team Switch Up cruised to a 6-stroke lead after round 1 over Missed Mando Mayhem 4 runners-up Rachel Dubois and Taylor Quigley of Team Tay and Ray. And Danny and Alyssa were able to maintain that lead through round 2 to take down the win by 6 strokes for Team Switch Up. And in the women's 2 division, there was a tie at the top after round 1 between Sherry Pashko and Jessica Durzak of Team Flickin' Fabulous. Love that name. And Beth Blazer and Kim Garotti of Team Never Too Late. And after a super tight battle through round 2, it was Team Flickin' Fabulous who were, I almost screwed that up, Team Flickin' Fabulous who were able to take down the win by a single stroke. Well done to all the winners there. Shawnee G, let's throw it over to you. Let's hear some of your thoughts. You were out there, so how did you do out there? And let's hear some of your thoughts from the Golden Horseshoe Doubles Championship.
Had a fantastic time, as I mentioned in the intro. My partner and I, we got one really nice eagle, which was great on 12, the softest par 5 that I think is maybe in Ontario. It was super fun, but we will 100% take that. I really like the 2 added holes, A and B, especially B, which is this little it's an island hole. You got to throw across the river. Really, really fun little shot. We missed the island on round 1, but nailed it and got the putt on round 2 for the birdie, which was really fun. We had a great time, and it was it was a blast. I mean, this is such a great event, even when I don't remember the name of it. I mean, what more can you say about Team Marty Farty that you didn't already cover in your intro? Absolute legendary clinic was put on. I mean, to be disappointed that they got 1 par. real subpar showing there on getting par. And it was on hole 9, which they should have birdied that one. They probably should have birdied that one. I mean, clearly they should have birdied all of them, and they pretty much at least did. But this is the one, I don't know if you remember, Robbie, where the basket is sunk down in a ditch. And
it's one of the more straightforward holes on
from the
course,
blues,
really.
yeah.
It's just kind of right in front of you, 300 and something feet, and just right there. But I messaged Kalen afterwards to ask him how the heck that was the only one they didn't at least birdie, and he said they missed their 30-foot putt. So
yeah,
can't make them all, I guess.
They hit one of the branches early, relatively.
That is one of the things on that hole is if you're not close enough, those branches really start to get in your face.
Yeah, that's all I want to highlight is just that is two of the best rounds of golf that I've ever heard of. That's just absurd. I was looking at the UDisc rating, and it's well over 300, and which I don't think I've even seen over 300 on a UDisc rating before. Absolute monster. I think there was one on the Go Throw Tour this year that was I think one of Gannon's insane rounds. He was
probably
340 or something stupid, and these were in like the 320s or so, I forget. Anyway, monster rounds, just absolutely crazy. It's too bad a little bit that they weren't able to play the gold layout after lunch, because we're running out of light, and it was getting a little slow. We wanted to make sure that we could finish the round in the well, not in the sun, but not having to use glow discs. It was cutting it close as it was. So right call, absolutely the right call to play the shorter layout, and just to see just perfection. So cool.
Yeah, Kalen and Marty together are apparently a cheat code, because that both rounds are ridiculous, but especially that first round where they birdied or eagled every single hole except for one. Absolutely crazy. And I forget exactly what the math is, but I know that there's a way that you can sort of roughly calculate what the PDGA rating would be for a round based on a UDisc round. It's not exact, but it is sort of a general idea. And I forget what the math is, but I did see somebody in one of the Discords that I'm in did the math, and it was like an 1147 rated round or something like that. If it was in PDGA, it'd be one of the highest rated rounds of all time. Now a little different when it's singles and versus doubles. Paul Macbeth with the 11. I think the highest rated round of all time is like an 1135 by Macbeth, something like that. Absolutely absurd. But either way, yeah, like an 1147 is what that would calculate to, which is absolutely bonkers. But across 22 holes, when you go 23 under, it's pretty crazy round. So big shout out to Oz and everybody involved in running that for another year. That's the 5th Golden Horseshoe Doubles Championship, and always one of the most popular doubles events in Ontario. 96 doubles teams this year out competing over the 2 days, which is absolutely bonkers to see. Shawnee G, anything else that you want to add from the Golden Horseshoe Doubles Championship? All right, well, with that, we will move on and actually say goodbye. That's going to do it for us here on Missed Mando this week. Next episode, we will be back, hopefully joined by Galen. And when we have all three of us here, we are going to do a little review and I guess recap of our fantasy teams that we drafted at the start of the season. I went through and finished the spreadsheet today and got all the point totals. So we've got a winner to announce. Pretty close battle between the top two teams, and one that was pretty far behind. Take a wild guess at who that one was. But hopefully we will be joined by Galen on the next show to talk about that. And in the meantime, everybody enjoy getting out, playing some winter rounds of disc golf. If you're here, I guess anywhere in Ontario right now is under snow. I don't think there's anywhere that's avoided it so far. So enjoy getting out and playing some doubles rounds. Stay warm out there. I will not see you on the course because I'm a little wuss, but I will see everybody back in the spring, I'm sure. And until then, for Sean Galbraith, I am Robbie Holden. This has been Missed Mando, and we'll see you on the course.